welcome back to the ESCOM podcast, the Single in the Kingdom Minded podcast. I am your host, Erica Zafir. Listen, it's such a great evening to be with you all. I don't know when you're going to be watching this, but whether you watch it in the morning or hi, everyone, it's me. I've spoken to a few of you all who watch the podcast, and you all have been telling me how you would have the podcast on while you on your way to work. And so I'm just so excited to hear it. Okay, I'm here for it. Y'all, before we get started, if this is your first time on this podcast, if you found my channel by accident, whatever it may have been, go ahead, like, subscribe. Come on, become a part of the family. Here we talk everything kingdom, okay? Everything about the Lord. So, anything that we're doing in our lives, we put the Lord with it. So so go ahead and join the family. Today we are going to talk about the importance of finding your tribe. I have been talking to so many people this week. Like we've been having just different communication, just different conversations about living this single life, being in this season of your life. And I think one of the conversations that stood out the most to me is the importance of having a tribe. So, y'all, once again, go ahead and like, subscribe, y'all. This space is for single women who are serious about growing in faith and purpose and wholeness, walking in your single season. You're not waiting for someday, but you are walking. And kingdom mindset right now. Y'all, we're gonna start. Let's get started. So let's be honest, y'all. Being single and kingdom minded can feel lonely sometimes. You love God, you're walking in purpose, you're healing, you're growing, but still you still crave community. You're still looking for other people for you to be around. And that's okay. That is totally okay. But here's the thing, being set apart doesn't mean being isolated. Doesn't mean being isolated. Even Jesus didn't walk alone, he had 12. And even within the 12, he had his three. Okay. So sometimes you're going to have a group of people with you, and then you're going to have your inner circle. Your tribe is the group that reminds you of who you are when life tries to make you forget. And I think it's kind of easy to do. A lot of people would tell me, well, when you get married, it's so easy to forget about yourself because you're worrying about other people and everything else in between. But no one talks about in your single season, a lot of times you put yourself in the back burner too. You worrying about family, you worrying about friends, you worrying about your job, you worrying about everyone else. I mean, even the Bible tells us that single people, we're supposed to be all about God's business. And so a lot of times we don't look at anything that we're doing. Nothing that we are doing at all. It's good to have people around you so they can remind you of who you are. They can remind you of your worth. You need to know that yourself. You do need to know that yourself, but there's nothing like someone else remembering your birthday, someone else bringing you a gift. Okay? So there's nothing wrong with having your tribe. So when God places people in your life for kingdom purpose, it's not random. It is strategic because destiny is rarely walked alone. Um, and I say rarely because we have this thing where we say it takes a village to raise a child. Think about yourself. It takes a village to make you who you are. You need family, you need friends, you need certain people to walk with you. Let's talk about what happens when we try to do life solo. Y'all, the enemy loves isolation. You hear me? The enemy loves isolation. If he can't get you alone and quiet your voice, he can plant lies. Lies like you'll be behind, nobody gets you, you too much, or even worse, you don't need anyone. If the devil can isolate you, he won. He won. What happened to the Lord? What happened to the Lord? Because we're giving the devil all the props by jumping up and going, and wanting to be alone. God wired us for connection, honestly. That's why we always trying to connect to someone. We always trying to be um with somebody, a friend or a loved one. I remember um I remember a season in my life when I was doing ministry, just working, showing up for everyone. But deep down, I was empty. I told myself I'm fine, but I wasn't. I was doing everything that I needed to do for everyone. I would show up. It was birthdays, I was there. Family events, I was there. It didn't matter what it was. I would always, always show up for other people. I would always act like I'm good. Everything is peachy, but somewhere, in the back of my head, I wasn't. And because I didn't have people around me to speak truth to me, to tell me where I was, because I mean, obviously I was lost. Obviously I was lost. I was so busy doing everything for everyone else. I just forgot all about myself and what I needed in that moment. So I almost settled. I settled for comfort instead of what God has called me for. It's like I'm stuck in that place. But when you have a tribe, whew, that is rooted and grounded in the Lord. They can help you see God version of when you can't see yourself. Somebody need to help you see the God version of you. And I know it sounds like I want to say the good version of you, but the God version of you, the person that God has a purpose for. That's why doing life without a tribe, it's not its strength at all. Honestly, it's struggle disguised as independence. Some of us are not ready to have the independence conversation. I don't like the term strong and independent woman or whatever the case might be, because just because we out here, we are single, we have jobs, and we're paying our bills. I don't know, we pay for our own food and we come home, we mind our own business, does not mean that we are independent minded, because that can be misconstrued for being independent. Just because I'm minding my business doesn't that's not necessarily what it means. But in the context of this podcast today, you need a tribe. With a tribe, there's strength. Come on, you need more than two hands. More than two hands. Y'all, listen, if you made it this far into the podcast, go ahead and subscribe. Be a part of the family, guys. Subscribe, ask questions in the comment, put your comments in the comments. Let's talk about what Kingdom Tribe looks like. It's not about perfection or matching personalities, it's about alignment. There are some specific things that we should look for. Here's what describe healthy, God centered tribe. So, somebody who is spiritually anchored. And I'm not talking about the strongest person in the house of the Lord. I'm talking about an accountability partner, because that person, you can be their accountability partner and they can be yours. This person will encourage you to put God first. You can pray with that person. You can fast with that person. There is so much that you can do with that person. Single people, I don't want us to think that it has to be a man. You need friends, sis. You need people in your corner. I'm just saying. Another type of person or group of people that you should look for: safe, supportive. Someone that you can be vulnerable with. You can have a conversation with them, and they're not going to judge you, and they're not going to run and tell the whole world, because they are here. They are here. And they are ready for everything that you have to say, so they can go and tell everybody. There are some people you just can't talk to them. Every time you tell them something, they got to tell everybody and their mama and them. Everybody. All of them. It makes no sense. Not at all. And you have to look for someone who is purpose driven. You have to know yourself too. If you don't know yourself, it's hard to recognize those things that you need in other people. You have to understand what you need in your life, and then you can be like, "Oh, I can get that from this person." So you need somebody who's purpose driven, somebody who's not just gonna talk, right? But they're gonna push you, and you can push them towards their goal. You know, Going back to the whole being supportive thing, you need to look for somebody who celebrate you. Somebody who's going to clap for your wins when they're not winning, okay? Somebody who's going to clap for your wins when they're not winning, because there are some people who cannot for the life of them clap for other people if it's not them. Be careful with those people. So you gotta have multiple people. Come on now. The tribe of Israel, how many people was in there? 12. You might need up to 12. Ain't no telling. It's up to you. You have to know who all you need. Your tribe can be 2 people. Your tribe can also be 12. Your tribe can also be 50. My tribe is huge. I got my family. I have church family, church friends. I have some work friends. Like, I feel like even though I'm an introvert, I always say I don't talk to people like that, but for some reason, I have a lot of friends. For being an introvert, I have a lot of friends, a whole lot of them. Goodness. But you need some people who are going to be there. You need somebody who's going to be consistent. That's the next one. Somebody who's consistent, who's passionate. They're going to show up when life gets messy. Hmm. And not just when it's convenient. They're going to show up. They're going to show up for you. Proverbs 27 and 17 says, as iron sharpens, so one person sharpens another. That's your tribe. Women who help you become sharper, wiser. Our goal is to be more like the Lord. It seems impossible, it seems hard, but nothing's impossible with God. So you need somebody who's going to push you to be more like Christ. Somebody who's going to be like, what would Jesus do? They might get on your nerves because they keep saying, girl, what would Jesus do? They might get on your nerves. You have those friends. You might have some of those friends. Like, girl, now you know better. What would Jesus do? But you need those type of friends. You really do. You really do. Put it in the comment section. Yeah. So when it comes to like the tribe, we're talking about all of these different people that we're supposed to be looking for. So how do you actually build your tribe as a single and kingdom minded woman? Woman, woman. So here are some practical and spiritual ways. Show up where purpose lives. Find places where you can meet people that are like minded, like church, Bible studies, maybe some type of a woman conference where they are encourage you to do better. Be careful with those women conferences, because sometimes it can feel like therapy, but you might already have a therapist, so you may not need to go, because you don't want to end up trauma bonding with people. So careful. Choose wisely. Choose wisely. At your church, serve in different departments. I sing on the praise team. I'm an usher. I work in the media department. I'm the young adult ministry president for my district and my church organization. So, and I'm also the national music, what am I? National Music Secretary. So I wear a lot of hats, way too many hats. How do I do all of them? Barely. barely. I'm trying to survive, okay? But I mean, they all don't happen at the same time, so that's the best thing about it. They all don't happen at the same time, even though media could be like, oh, it happens at the same time because every service you record, you doing something, but it's kind of chill. It's kind of chill. The only day I do media is on Tuesday, and I'm actually not singing on that day. And so, and I'm not ushering. So I just kind of like, figure out the time and things like that. So find something to do in your local church, that can help. Join online communities. Let me tell you guys something. Someone asked me, where do you meet people that are like-minded? So I went on there's this app or website called Meetup. And you can go on there, and there are so many different communities that you can actually be a part of. This is so not a sponsored video for them, not at all. I'm guessing they're getting free publicity right now. But anyway, I brought them up to say once upon a time during my college days, I would say about 6 years ago, I maybe 7, 8 years ago. Oh my gosh. Wow, it's been a long time. Actually, it's been 9 years since I graduated undergrad. Okay. Wow. Yeah. I just felt my age. Wow. Wow. Okay. Back to what I was saying. Yep, I'm back. I'm back to earth. Back to what I was saying. Back in my college days, I had this brilliant idea to go on Meetup and start my own meetup. And I started a meetup, and it was called Sing. Oh, excuse me. It was called Single Christian Tampa, Single Ladies of Tampa Meetup. I don't know what it was called, guys. It was called something like that, y'all. And I had a group of ladies who actually joined me. They came to dinner. So actually, like, people came, but I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. It was a great community. Some of those ladies actually became friends, and I believe they are still friends until this day, just not friends with me. They just weren't my tribe. I think that's what they just weren't my tribe, and I wasn't their tribe, if that makes sense. It was at that moment, it was just for me to bring them together, but not for them to come to me or for me to go to them. It just that wasn't my tribe. However, going to online communities, actually finding those things where people are like-minded would be good. Faith-filled communities. You don't want to just be a part of just about anything because it's not always good. Those people, they probably don't follow the same moral standards as you when it comes to your world point of views, when it comes to God point of view, perspective, things like that. So you want to make sure that you are finding people that align with you. Yeah. And here's the thing. Another thing, as we're talking about, here are some practical things that you can do in your search for your tribe. Be what you pray for. Sis, hold on. Let's say that again. Maybe say it with me. Say it with me. Be what you pray for. Okay? There's nothing worse than you looking for friends that are consistent and you're not consistent. Be what you pray for. You want loyalty? You need to be loyal. You want somebody who's prayerful? You need to be prayerful. Don't wait for people to call you. Call them too. Come on, call them too. Don't wait. Celebrate people first. Don't just wait for them to celebrate you. Celebrate them first. Because let me tell you something, the energy that you're giving them, oh, they're going to return that energy. They're going to return the energy straight to you because you're giving exactly what you want. Okay. Be honest about your desire for community. It's okay to say, Lord, I desire sisterhood in your prayers. So guess what? Put it on the altar. Take it to the altar. Talk to the Lord. Lord, I desire solid. sisterhood that honors you. I honor sisterhood that pray. Let people know you're looking for real connection and not convenience. If somebody is not showing genuine friendship and you've had that conversation with them and you all have established certain criteria. I mean, sometimes you might have to treat your friendships like it's a business. Like, these are my criteria. Do you meet my criteria? Because if you don't, then I'm going over there. Not everyone is meant for your inner circle. So if somebody is not giving you 100% of what you need, maybe they are not a part of the inner circle, but put them over there on the outer court. Yeah. If you set that boundary, protect your peace. You know what your purpose is. You know what you need to be doing. Protect that. Protect that. It is so fragile. Protect it. Think of it as a baby, a brand new baby. Protect it. Please protect it. Honestly, have y'all ever prayed for y'all friends? Like, when you have new friends, do you pray? Do you pray like, God, is this person real? Is it okay if I'm friends with this person? Is this person good for my mental health? Is this person good for my peace? Lord Jesus, that's how you're going to be able to put them where you need to put them. Are these persons, do they belong in your inner circle, or are they out there? Are they going to be in the tabernacle, the inner courts, outer courts, holies of holies? Where are these people going to be at? Where are you going to put those people? Ask God to send divine relationships, those who feed your faith and not your flesh. Okay? Because the right tribe, they won't pull you away from God. They'll push you closer to Him. That's what you want. You want people who are going to push you closer to God. I have friends, I have friends who push me closer to God. Those people are my close. Those are my inner circle friends. Those are the people that I can call and say, "Look, I'm going through and I need you to pray for me. Like, I need you to intercede for me right now." But I also have a group of friends where I can't call them to, for them to intercede for me. I can definitely intercede for them. And the ones that are not able to intercede for me, they do have a place in my life still, right? Because they're still good for something. The same way that I might be friends with another group of people, but I may not be for some of the things that they need, but I am still good for something. So you don't want to always throw people away. You just want to put them in certain categories. Then closer than others. When your relationships are God sent, you'll notice growth. You'll notice growth in you, and you'll also notice growth in those other people. And those growth, it could be spiritually, emotionally, professionally. Think about your job. That's the power of divine alignment. Like, y'all come together. Yeah. The next point I want to make is wholeness before we. Okay. Let me say that for my sisters in the back. Wholeness before we. Don't wait until marriage to find your tribe. Let me tell y'all something, okay? I have lived this single life for years. At this point, doctorate degree. Honestly, I am beyond what's post grad degree. I don't know what that is, but that's the degree I have. Okay, that is the degree I have. And if I was sitting here saying I'm gonna wait until I get married to find my tribe, been sorrier than a soggy biscuit. You hear me? Okay, because some married people, they would always say it's best for married people to be friends with married people, single people to be friends with single people. And so when you think about, oh, I'll get married, then me and my husband can become the we, and then his family, my family, this, and then we're gonna have our kids. This is what we're gonna. Baby, those things, they may not come in the order that you want them. And by that, I mean, like, not the husband and then the job and then, and then finding friends. Like, it may not come, like, in that order. So you have to move in the order that God is putting before you. That's all I'm saying. Your tribe is supposed to help you stay whole. And that's going to be before the we. They'll remind you that you are already complete in Christ. They'll speak life into you when you're tempted, especially to compare your timeline, because that's really big in the singles community. We tend to compare our timeline. Well, sister so and so got married when she was 28 and I'm 30. I don't know what's going on. I want to get married by 30. I want to have my kids by 32. Okay, raise your hand. Raise your hand if you wanted to be married by a certain age, have kids by a certain age. Raise my legs too. You just can't see them. I'll raise all of them, because yes, I set those I definitely set those deadline, set those timelines. um One thing I didn't do was necessarily compare my timeline to someone else. Actually, no, I'm not gonna say that. I did. Yeah, I did, because I was like, well, dog, so and so's getting married. Well, Lord, what you doing? What's happening with mine? Where are you, Jesus? So how come I haven't? Hold on, Lord. I went through that. I went through that phase, but it was the people who are in my life who would say, "Girl, don't compare yourself to others' timeline. Remember, God's timing is what we look up to. We don't look at other people's timing." So they'll call me out. They'll call me out when I start settling for less. So less than God's best, because God is going to give you the very best, the best of the best. Okay? When you have a strong tribe, you stop living from loneliness and start living from abundance. You become the kind of woman who thrives in every season because you're surrounded by women who understand you, women who get it. Okay? Because you're surrounded by those people, yes, you got this. I was having the conversation of finding your tribe with a friend of mine at work, and we were kind of like talking about when it comes to, church and stuff like that. Sometimes it could be hard to find your tribe at church because the people are not who they say they are. But at the end of the day, you still have to find that family. Just because someone doesn't agree with you does not mean they are not fit to be in your tribe. We can't always be around people who agree, like just agree with us. I said, I'm wearing this dress, and the sister said, oh, yeah, I wear it. But then I go outside and everybody is pointing fingers, looking at me. Everybody's saying, I thought you were saved and you dress like this and all of that stuff. And the sister agreed with me. The people don't always have to be agree with you. And my friend and I, we were kind of like talking about finding your tribe, finding those people who believe in you, those people who are talking about the things that you need. Not necessarily just anything, but they're talking about the things that you need to grow, because you may need spiritual guidance at the moment, and maybe that's what your tribe needs to provide you. And be open about that. Let them know what you need. Let them know what you need in this season of your life to be able to be successful in the next season. Don't be afraid to communicate that. Sometimes we may not want to say what we want because we feel maybe it's not the right time, or we feel that, well, it's not fitting. None of that. If you have to pull your tribe to the side, in your tribe, you should have that inner circle. You should have some specific people that you can pull from your from your tribe and say, hey, I'm really struggling with this. I really need help with this. I have one sister. I feel like we struggling with the same thing. But the best thing about it is that we keep each other lifted up in prayer. We would call each other and we call each other out on those things. Even though we're struggling with the same thing, we honestly, I thank God. I honestly thank God for that because we are able to call each other out on those things. So, as we wrap up today, I want to leave you with a few reflection questions for the week. So, grab your journal because this is your time to get intentional. The first question I want you to think about is who in your life consistently strengthen your walk with God? Really sit down and actually look at all the people that you are always around, all the people you're always on the phone with, all the people you work with, all the people you go to church with, all the friends that you meet up for brunch. I want you to look at your list. Be intentional about it. Who in your life consistently strengthens your walk with God? That's your first question. Your second question for your journal: are there relationships that you need to release or you need to redefine? When it comes to the release, it could be being released from one part of a category to go to another category. Maybe those type of friends were your inner circle, but now they don't fit that category. So I want you to look at your friends, your tribe, whatever you want to call them. Are there any relationships you need to release or redefine? Your third question, your third reflection question: how can you start being a better sister, friend, or encourager? How can you be a better one of those? That third question will help you figure out number two, because number two, you may not be may not need to release those people because you might be the one that's toxic. I had to look at my life. Am I the one that's toxic? When I realized that I have done something to that sister, maybe that's why she was a little toxic. I call her, hey sis, what's going on? We're good. This what I'm thinking. Is that what's going on? Because you have to look at yourself first, before you can look at other people. Yeah. And pray over those answers. Look at your answers. Pray over them. Let God lead you to your people. Let God lead you to your tribe. Y'all, remember, you are single and kingdom minded. You are not waiting for life to begin. You're living it fully right now. And your tribe, they are part of your kingdom assignment. Thank you for listening. If this episode encouraged you, share it with someone else. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, say things, ask questions, anything, guys. Anything. All right, y'all. Until next time, you all stay anchored in the Lord. Make sure you guys stay purpose filled and kingdom minded. Until next time, everyone, I hope you enjoyed listening. Bye.